doing a Twitter. You guys do this if you want, and that way at least you're tagging everybody.
I don't have access to Bonded by Horror on this phone.
Alright, I'll tag this. Just put we are live.
All right, and welcome to the very first episode of Bonded by Horror. With your three hosts, I'm Eddie Vegas.
I'm Joe Walsh, also known as JC Walsh.
And all right, and now that you know who the three of us are, we'll get into where we come from and our backgrounds a little bit later. We're going to do some plugs near the end of the show where you can find us on our other platforms and or other projects. We all equally have our own other things going on, whether it's podcasting or writing or whatever, but mutually, we all love and admire horror movies. That's like our bond. So quick minor background, me and Scroogey Boy there are actually brothers in real life. Me and JC Walsh there are brothers bonded by horror. We've been best friends and hetero life mates for 26 years now or so. And one of the things that keep us together is our bond over horror movies and all things horror in general.
Speaking of which,
And
happy National Sibling Day, everybody! Fucking
quick
shout out to that.
If there was ever a day to start this, this would be the right one, right? So. So just to give you an idea, again, it's episode 1, so it's going to have some kinks. We're still trying to figure out the structure of the show. The biggest thing is we're going to talk all things horror media, right? So mainly movies and or TV shows, you know, like bingeable TV shows now, like Haunting at Hill House or, you know, things along those lines. We also might even do episodes where we break down good movie scores. We might break down maybe we'll get in some interviews with some people in the horror community. Hopefully, that's really the hope. There is to expand all of our realm and our reach.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Horror world, right? So hopefully everybody sticks around and hopefully everybody enjoys this. Don't mind me. I'm kind of new at the live stream thing. I'm you know, a little bashful. No.
You're shy. I get it.
Nah, not even a little bit. These guys know that.
Yeah,
that's why they're both gonna laugh.
That's
so
fine.
again, we the first ever episode only seemed fitting when we were discussing doing this show to break down Pet Sematary 2, right? So a movie that collectively by the fans of that series or the original book, a lot of people don't like that movie, and I think we're gonna all be here to defend it and hopefully change anybody's mind that don't maybe necessarily understand why that movie is beautiful in all of its 1992 glory, right? I couldn't love that movie any more than what I do, but I'll tell you, they're very. Not only are we going to talk about the goods and the highlights of this movie, but we're also going to probably talk about some lowlights now because does it hold up after, you know, almost 30 years, 28 years old now? I don't know. We're going to find out when we break this down. So to kick this off, we'll get into our actual breakdown of the movie in just a second, but did everybody have fun rewatching this movie? I feel like we all kind of watched it a few times a year. I know I do. It's one of my favorites. So you know, it's one of the ones that go into the 31 days of Halloween every October, and sometimes I'll throw it in just to add it in during the middle of the year because I just, you know, I have my reasons on why, which we'll get into. what about you guys? What was it like to watch this movie, to have to break it down, right? To actually not just to enjoy it and take it in for your own uh, enjoyment or pleasure, right? Like mouth pleasure, like when you eat a piece of candy and you're like, ooh, piece of candy, right?
Ooh.
It's ooh, piece of candy. It's it's what did you what was it like to rewatch it for you um to have to break it down and dissect it a little bit, right? To really peel back the layers of Pet Cemetery too. Joe, I'm gonna kick that to you real quick. What do you think about
You know,
rewatching?
it's funny. I mean, I watch it at least once or twice a year. Like you said, it's like religious for us. We love it. It's our like I consider a childhood movie almost from my
Hmm.
teenage years and shit. And then
Hmm.
and now rewatching it, and it's funny. I don't know if it's because I've been writing more or just the way my mind's been working. I've been breaking it down ever since then. So to even do it now, after, and I watch it twice this week. That's how much of a lunatic I am. I think you guys did the same. And it's
Yeah.
interesting to catch certain themes because when you watch it years ago, you just enjoy it for this wacky sequel to the first
Hmm.
movie, which is like, yeah, they both have serious tones
Hmm.
because the first movie is more closer to the book, but then like you take those themes and you turn to this wackiness that is the '90s, that is '90s
Right.
horror.
Right.
I don't,
That's a good point.
'80s horror was still wacky, but there was something about '90s. I don't know what it is, man. It was just like, so you could see that difference. It was trying to be polished, but then again, it's not. It's like it's independent, but then it's not, and it's just like it's trying to be serious. It's not, and it's so to revisit that again and now even break it down for our first episode.
Hmm.
It's a lot of fun. I kind of want to do it again after we leave here.
You know what? I'm probably going to give it one more watch after the show, after we're done wrapping this up here, because I just I kind of I want to watch it in different lights. You know what I mean? Meaning, and I don't just mean like daylight, nighttime or whatever, no light. I mean like with
I
like
say no
fresh
light.
eyes. Yeah. Well, I sat down. I had my wife sit with me the other day to watch it, and she doesn't watch it as religiously as I do or any of the horror movies that we all do. And to see her kind of point out things was interesting too, because she looks at it from a little bit more of a fresh perspective than me. Like I've
Hmm.
I've seen it so many times now that like I almost kind of sometimes you overlook things because you're like, I already know this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you just kind of it's sometimes it becomes background fodder, right? And it's just there for your mind to like enjoy a familiar thing, right? Um, but to have her um, throwing out some different points and some different highlights that I didn't even really notice or I haven't thought about in a long time was really really cool,
Hmm.
and it kind of brought some perspective to me, and then I started really looking at it in a different way too. So it was interesting to do that. So if you ever can, that's the other thing is if it's a movie that's really super familiar to you, if you can watch it with a fresh set of eyes, maybe if they're moderate horror fans or not even horror fans at all, see what they think about. Like I know your wife Jo, she's not necessarily a horror fan, but I'm sure she sits and watches a lot of the movies with you. And I mean, that must happen with you all the time, right? Where she'll go, I don't see I don't get what you see in this movie, or
Oh
what,
yeah.
right? I mean, I mean, that definitely happens with our choices of music a lot of the time on both
Hmm.
sides, but uh, Ben, or Scrooge, sorry,
Oh
I
no, you're
Scrooge.
fine.
I'm
No,
just
do
gonna call you
whatever.
Ben. You're
Yeah,
my little brother.
yeah.
So,
How dare
um,
you?
how was it for you to sit back and rewatch it? Because me and you, there's also a huge age gap. Me and Joe, he's a little bit older than me, but Ben being my brother, there's a 9 year age gap. So there's a decade between the two of us, right?
A literal
This movie came out
decade.
technically before he was born, not technically, before he was even born. So it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting to get his perspective. I watched it when it came out. He wasn't even a
Hmm.
thing yet. He hadn't even swam through the canal yet. And now, and yet now we have a baby Ben here. Benny, what was it like for you to go back and to watch this movie? I know you watched it last night to prepare for the show today. What was it like for you to pull anything out? Was it like was it relieving? Was it um, invigorating for you or re-energizing for you to get a new take on it, to have to tear it apart now that we're kind of like um, well, dissecting the movie, right? So I might get a little tongue tied. I was up late last night.
No, you're fine. Let's just say it's really weird. Because and I'll backtrack like when I say that. So it normally you watch the movie just as a pure like we're watching it for enjoyment, right? This time I was watching it just to kind of see, okay, what did I like about this? What didn't I like about this? I'm trying to be fair, because I've watched this movie at least 25 or 30 times. I watched
Oh yeah,
it, and I'm sure you guys are even higher than me up there in that
I'm way
regard.
more. I watch it a couple times a year.
So it was weird actually trying to sit there and try to notice things. Like there's things I noticed in here, and I wrote stuff down that I'm sure we'll get to. That I personally never noticed, whether it was stuff to connect the first movie to the second movie. That stuff was weird to me. I actually didn't notice any of a few things like that. It was awesome. I really liked watching it with actual fresh eyes. So it was great.
That's good, man. That's awesome. So we're definitely going to give you guys a fresh take on it, and hopefully you guys enjoy our dissection of. I'm going to keep on using that term because it's spooky, right? You're going to
It's
dissect the victim.
spooky.
It's
We're going to
gory.
dissect it. This episode's victim is Pet Cemetery 2. So without further ado, let's break it down. So what we're going to kind of do is we're going to share. We're going to start with the highlights, right? We're going to start with the things that we really loved about the movie. To kick it off, before I get into the scenes specifically, I will talk about the overall development of the movie when it kicks in. So I really love the way the movie opens. It sets a good tone. I like the character development for like a solid 90s movie. So that's the thing a lot of people don't get. So it does a decent job of kind of like honeydicking you in the beginning, right? Like it starts off with a movie being filmed inside of a movie, which is kind of a cliche thing, and we've all seen that, right? And then I can't remember the mom's name, but
Renee.
Renee, thank you very much. So
Nice.
Renee is a movie. I have a couple things up right now, so I appreciate that, Ben. So Renee is filming her movie, and you see this, the creepy hands coming out of the ground, and all of a sudden it misses and it grabs. I think it grabs her boob or
It
something
grabs her
along those
titty.
lines, and it becomes it grabs her titty, right? Honk.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
it's legit. Just like it starts off with a fucking Tales from the Crypt shit.
Yeah, and I think as a
Mhm.
kid, when I'm, what was I when this movie came out? 9, 8 years old, somewhere around there. And I saw it when it came out. My mom used to make me watch
Jesus,
horror
like
movies when I was
12.
a little kid. I was little, like I was young, and I remember seeing it, and I didn't know how movies are made. So when you see that, it's interesting as a kid. That always stuck with me to be like, oh, that's how it happens. Like it's just fake hands underneath the thing, or whatever. So that's kind of cool to see. Also, I which we're going to definitely get into more and more, and this will be a running theme here. The score and the soundtrack in this movie is almost second to none. People don't give that enough credit. Now, the soundtrack, the actual music that they decided to play in the scenes, it's very MTV, right? It's very in your face, and it's almost like they did a good job of setting it almost like it's a music video. Like if a music video for that song took scenes out of the movie, right, to like promote their video, which we've seen that before. Like if you've ever seen like movie, like I'm pretty sure there's a music video for "You Could Be Mine" from Guns N' Roses that has clips of Wayne, was it Terminator 2 in it, because it was a
Yeah.
big part together.
Yep.
So like you can see that together, right? And this is kind of a similar thing. Speaking of Terminator 2, Edward Furlong, right? That's how we all saw him. Ah, see, throwback, callback. So I wanted to kind of say that and set the tone here that we are definitely going to talk more and more about what the music in the movie means to us, and the actual score. Again, it sets a good tone, right? And then, anyways, so going from there, um, I'm going to kick it off because I'm the motor mouth and I'm going to be the mouthpiece here. Joe, give us one of your favorite scenes. We'll start with you. We're going to kick it off to you. What would you say? Like, give us one of your favorite scenes. Do you have anything specific that jumps out like early on in a movie, or and in no specific order? We're not going to go in a linear time order of like how the movie goes. We're not going to break down the movie scene by scene for you. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. If you have seen it, you're going to probably remember some of the stuff we're talking about. But anything early on that really jumps out at you that you would consider like like a holy shit moment or a favorite scene, maybe like a character development scene or something along those lines? Go ahead, Joe.
So actually, it's funny. I'll get more into it later, like you said, but I really want to dive into a lot of the lore of Pet Sematary 2, and of course, it's going to
I
dive
would love
into the
to.
first film and even the
with both
remake.
movies. Yep.
It's funny because like the mom's death was the catalyst of this whole thing.
100%. Yep.
And I knew this, but then even looking at it again these past couple of nights watching, I'm like, holy crap! Like this kick-started this entire nightmare. It kind of almost like rebrought, because ours, you could tell by the town, they haven't had this situation happen since the Creeds.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what my favorite thing is, like, you're gonna a lot of sequels, sometimes have a returning character, or they'll mention certain things, but this really like mentioned the lore of that town in Pet Cemetery very often. I love that. Like, so when you go, and then when you go to, I'll just throw out the mom's funeral. Like, that just sets everything with like Gus being there, the sheriff of the town. I think he's the sheriff. I know he's a cop.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
is.
remember.
Yep. Yeah, he's a sheriff.
Yeah, he's a sheriff. You're right.
And then the bullies are there, Clyde and his crew, and and it's like, and it's this moment of this Hollywood family coming back home to a small town where she originally grew up at, because they don't really
Yep.
say that, you know, but they don't really flat out say it. You just know, but based on like the pictures in the high school saying, you know, farewell to a hometown movie star, and then you see this kid who's like, he's kind of, you know, Edward Furlong's character's got this like, you know, teenage attitude, but he's kind of like, but also there's like a, but at the same time he's kind of coming from, I don't want to say he's not rich, but he's definitely coming from some kind of money type of
Yeah.
like
When
thing
you're coming from Hollywood in general, right,
you
and
got
back
money.
to a small town in
The
fucking
dad,
Maine
the
or New
dad's got a
Hampshire.
housekeeper. It looks like his wife, for crying out loud. I mean, come on.
Well, I'm gonna bring that up too. I thought that was funny. Real quick to talk about the housekeeper.
Mm.
Her first like scene in the house, she like makes the guy tea and like she's making him coffee. And I looked at Kristen and I was like, Jesus Christ, what kind of a fucking housekeeper makes you tea in the morning? You know what I mean? Like you have a butler all of a sudden?
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
she's a pretty fine butler, by the way.
I like how the first thing she does with the housekeeper is, so she goes in, she's like, oh my god, this is Renee's clothes, and like she starts fucking getting all excited about all this shit. She's like, she wore this to the Emmys, and like she got all excited. By the way, that's a throwback to later on in the movie when she actually wears the dress, which I actually liked. I didn't notice that until last night. Because she picks up, she starts fucking fangirling, and she gets all excited. Which, by the way, it's like, that's weird. My wife's dead. Can you not touch her clothes, please? But
and that goes right to the whole fandom thing that plays very well with it. Just all goes, it layers in very well, you know, together.
That scene set up a good tone though, because it makes you think about it from two different perspectives, right? It makes you think about if you're a teenage kid and your mom dies in front of you, right? Getting electrocuted, you know, freak accident. And
that's a
she's a
brutal
movie
scene.
star.
They did a good job with that.
It is a good scene, and it sets up the fact, like, you kind of look at, part of you kind of wants to go, Edward Furlong, Jesus Christ, not good.
Jeff, the character Jeff.
Yeah,
Jeff, yeah, I'm just.
I have all that
Jeff's
stuff
name.
written down.
No, you're
I'm
fine.
sorry, guys.
No, if you say Edward Furlong, I'm gonna know who fucking Jeff is.
I have everybody else. Like I have Clyde, I have Gus, I have everything else written down, but
Yeah.
I forgot to write down Renee. I even have Chase the dad.
I
written down.
wrote actors' names like at the start, just out of habit, and then I tried like later on in my notes, I tried to actually break it down by character. But
so you can kind of see it from Jeff's perspective, right? Of like, he just lost his mom and it happened in front of him. Like, don't touch her. So like, that's mine. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a sentimental person. All this stuff behind me is all sentimental stuff that I've had given to me, or that, you know, like I'm a lunatic. Like that's an Elvis guitar back there with popcorn that I'm never gonna eat because I just like the fact that it's full of popcorn. Probably has ants in it. I don't know. Good for them. It's a little ant crate. So the fact that, but then you kind of also see it from Chase's perspective, right? So like, obviously it's his ex-wife technically, right? So, you know, not a lot of love lost there, but obviously you're still going to be a little emotional about the fact, and you're going to feel for your son. But he kind of looks at Jeff and goes, it's okay. He sees it from the fans' perspective of, wow, she was a fan of my wife. That's, that's an honor. It's almost part of the legacy for her to see the dress and like be so excited about it. So you see the two, like the logical adult brain in Chase kind of go, you probably shouldn't have done that, lady, but like, I get it. It's okay. Just, put it back. And then from Jeff's perspective, as essentially a tormented youth, that's a lot for your brain to take in.
And that kid is so fucking traumatized.
Teenage
creepy
years.
traumatized.
Yes,
hell yeah,
yeah, because he saw that
yeah,
he saw
man.
like the what is it, the 1 or 2 lines on her face, and like he saw his mother die.
The wrought iron bars.
Yep. I wanted to really quick give a shout out to Edward Furlong because he's got some screen queen pipes. Dude, he fucking belts it so hard, not just in that, but in Terminator 2 many times. He fucking screams so hard.
Don't forget his actual his best horror movie is Brain Scan.
We gotta revisit that.
Oh, can we please do Brain Scan? That would be a fucking right. Sorry for interrupting. I just wanted to say that before I forgot. Dude, that kid's got some pipes on him. Good for you, bud.
Yeah. So real quick, to follow off of Joe's kind of first thing there, something that really kicks it off, and it's going to tie in both things, right? The throwback to where it starts tying in the lore, and where you can really start seeing the movie kick in my opinion. One of my favorite scenes is when at the school, Jeff brings the cat to school, whatever, and in the hallway, Clyde and his goons or whatever walk up to him, and he's like, he starts petting him or whatever, petting Tiger. I remember the cat's name.
Yeah, there you go.
And
nice, good one.
Petting Tiger, right? And he's petting Tiger, and he's like, "Hey Jeff, you ever see a cat run?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, like really run." And then he takes off. That whole cat scene, the stealing of the cat into the bike chase, which brings you to dun 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 the Creed house. It brings you right past the Creed
Yep.
house, and then this is the first time we get to see the pet cemetery in the
Yep.
movie.
That was the first.
So
That was one of the
it's a
instances where I
fucking awesome
said
scene.
it
It's a great
connects to the
layout.
first one, and I didn't
Yep.
even fucking put two and two together. And I like, why did they focus on it so hard? I know I saw that. It's like, I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah, it's the Creed house. Duh.
Mm-hmm. Yep, which is awesome. I'm glad that they showed it that early in the movie. They didn't try to hold back too much. They gave you enough character development, enough setup on why the story is where it is in the beginning with the mom dying and moving and everything, and then hey, classic '90s dickhead bully with the dangly earring and the fucking he's essentially like the dollar store version, the Dollar General version of fucking David from Lost
I had
Boys.
some bullies like that.
No, he looks.
We
No,
all
dude,
did.
he's such a fucking welfare Bender. He looks just like Bender.
Well, so what's funny is, right, he's a mix of all those things. But
Yeah.
when I was a kid, Joe, do you remember Camp Salute Your Shorts from Nickelodeon?
Yes. Yep.
Camp Anawana. There was like Donkey Lips and the fat kid named Donkey Lips. There's a character in that show called Buttnick. I thought they were the same people. And I remember like our friend Arnie, who's a big, or Jared, he's a big movie fan too. And he called me out on it one day, like years ago. I was talking about it one night, and he's like, "Dude, that's not the same person." And I had to look it up, and he was right. So a lot of my youth, I thought they were the same, and I don't even think they look alike. But for some reason in my head, they did, right? And the same thing goes for the friend character in Terminator 2. I always thought that was the same kid, but I don't think it is. I can't remember, but that's besides the point. But yeah, so this I thought that was a good scene where like the two kids get into a fight or whatever. Like Jeff punches fucking Clyde in the face. Hey man, first time anybody's ever stood up to this prick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. He's worried about his cat, which I get that. I'm an animal lover too. You probably hear my dogs barking in a little while. Ben's got some pussy running around his apartment. I mean, cats running around his apartment too.
True.
Right.
Got
See,
him.
got
That-
him. Got to let us.
It's funny because it's like same thing. I've seen this movie so many times, and still I'm like, I fucking hate Clyde so much. Because there's two reasons. One, why would Jeff bring a cat to school? That's a little weird. But
I thought the same thing.
Why would you do that?
Movies.
I'm trying to give a pass to it, but it's so hard to. It's like, man, I really need to cope with my mom dying. Better bring my cat with me. And then I thought that was a good way to establish that.
Hey,
yeah.
Sometimes you want to stroke a little pussy.
Yeah. Thanks, Dice.
It's so bad.
No, it's a
Joe's
Dice
so
throwback.
disappointed with that joke.
So it's just like what I wrote is nothing says, haha, I got you. Like I'm gonna steal your cat and then kill it. Haha, I got you. And it's like obviously he doesn't, but still, I don't know. That's a little fucking weird. By the way, shout out to that fucking cat because dude, Clyde is legit. Dude, he's speeding and he's holding the cat, and I thought it was a fake cat, and I had to rewind it for a second. No,
I think that's actually a real cat.
Dude, it was moving, and they're legit speeding down that thing, speeding down the road with the bikes. And he's
movie magic. I feel like I'm sure that they were just being like tugged behind something, and it looks when you film things like that,
on the
it
fucking
looks faster
truck.
than what it's really going. But it is still wild that he's holding a cat. Like I don't know if that'd be allowed nowadays. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure you can work with animals, but that's a tough one.
It was cool because like Clyde was yelling at him. I was like, "You having fun yet?"
You having fun yet?
It's almost like, "Oh my god, he had a line."
Yeah, it was perfect.
He's talking.
Yeah. That's a wild scene. That's one of the ones that really always jumped out at me too. Just in general, I mean, especially I think we all dealt with bullies growing up, even though like, as adults now, like I'm obviously a big fella. Joe can hold his own.
I'm still fat.
It's one of those things where it happens. Can't all be winners.
I'm still short
right?
and fat.
Can't all be winners. But I dealt with my fair share of bullies when I was a kid, and then I got bigger than everybody else and learned how to deal with it. And as a kid, getting picked on a lot for being like the poor kid or the kid who didn't have the cool clothes or whatever. And I moved around a ton when I was a kid. Before Ben was even really born, I moved like 8-9 times before I was even 8 years old. So every 6 months or so, I was moving to a new place. So I never really made friends. And I think that's why I'm so eclectic with the people that I have around me now.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie I always felt connected with Jeff because I understood what that felt like to be out of your comfort zone and forced into a situation that you didn't really want to be in. Like it.
Yep.
Take out the fact that his mom died, whether it was a divorce or whether it doesn't matter what the reasoning on. He's a stranger in a new place, especially a small town like that. And it's tough as a kid, right? It's tough as a teenager or a kid to try to make new friends in a new place. So they did a good job with that. And the more you think about it from Jeff's perspective, you go, oh, I know what that was like. You know what I mean? And it
Hmm.
sucks, But for him to go, fuck you, Clyde. You know what I mean? Like that's awesome. You kind of go, fuck yeah, man. I
Yeah,
mean, he got the shit
yeah.
kicked out of him
I
afterwards,
noticed
but
that with with Jeff, even Drew when he's standing up to his
Mhm.
stepfather. They both aren't strong enough to handle these bullies, but they're not. They don't. They face their
Yep.
fears and they face these people that these bully whether as a kid or adult.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they still fought back, and like you said, they got the shit kicked out
Yeah,
of them.
and
And that makes you feel for them even more, you know.
I like that. I like that too, and I think that's a way for me to at least go off into another thing I was gonna say that I actually really liked that I never gave enough credit to. I fucking adored this time watching the small little plot line of Drew and Gus. The first like maybe like half hour, dude. That fucking relationship where they have and like they clearly don't like each other. They clearly
Mhm.
just fuck you. I don't like you. You're fat. You're a dickhead. Shout out to Gus's fat cakes that he's got. I'm just saying, Clancy Brown's got some fat cakes. But the other thing, it's like, dude, Gus is such a piece of shit to Drew. Drew not only just takes it, he gives it back. He's a dickhead
Mhm.
too to Gus, and it's very rare seeing that in old movies with that type of stuff where you got this fat little kid and like he's a pussy and he always just takes all of the punishment, the bullying. He says, no, fuck you. Like, I'm gonna fucking dish it right back, especially to a father figure like that. That
Well,
was
so
big
Yeah,
for
the
me.
remote
what's
control
funny
where
is
you like try
Yeah,
to
when
mute
he
it.
puts
that's literally
right in his
you
face.
son of a bitch. You stole it
That's
out of
where I
my
started
fucking.
writing it. Yep.
I've been sitting here bouncing. As soon as fucking Joe brought up, Gus standing up for himself, Drew standing up for himself, and then Ben started going into that scene. My next fucking favorite
Yep.
scene that I wrote
Yep.
down is
That
Drew
was me.
using the remote to try to mute Gus. Always makes me fucking laugh. Feel bad for the kid,
And then
but I
like
give him credit for
Gus's
that one.
face is like,
Yeah, like that kid 100% knows he's about to get the shit kicked out of him,
Oh,
whether
punched
verbally,
so hard in the
mentally, or
face.
physically. Yeah. But man, God bless him for that. You know what I mean?
you know,
Click.
back to Gus. I
Awesome
know
fucking scene.
back to Gus too, and Clancy Brown's acting. He was one of the only ones that pulled off the Maine accent. I noticed.
Yeah, he was one of the ones that
He
even
was
tried.
kind of like Judd, even though Judd was kind of like that father figure in the first movie,
Yeah.
and he got the
Oh, you
accent. But he
bury your cat down there.
Can't go
Can't go
down
down
that
that road.
road. Can't go down that road.
So Clancy Brown was just like, "Where's your son?" It's just like all
Mhm.
kinds of like little. And it
Where's
makes
your
it even
boy?
more evil, I guess.
Well,
in
is
some
Chase
some
from
aspect.
Maine? Chase and Jeff aren't from Maine though.
No,
No.
but I think Renee's from Maine. Renee is from Maine.
Well, all right. So
That's why
the
they-
excuse
Well, actually,
that
no. Here's what's weird though. So that's something that they never actually clarify, because the Renee is from that town, but
yeah,
they
'cause
never actually
she
say
and Gus
whether
went to
Chase is
the
from.
prom and all that.
So here's the thing. So the thing that makes me think that Chase had to have been from there or a similar town
around,
Mhm.
yeah.
is because why the fuck would he move back to his dead wife's town
Good point.
after she's dead?
Oh, yeah.
Why not just stay in Hollywood or pick
Well-
literally fucking anywhere else? If he
Yeah.
was from Tallahassee, he would move back to Tallahassee. Not, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, it's probably
like
it's to
He had to have been.
get that. Well, I just chalked it up as he's trying to get that connection, that root to be like, I still have
Right,
Renee in some
exactly.
capacity with me, not just in
yeah, but
in the grave.
They
but,
also were going through a divorce though too. So like, he wouldn't have your
Oh.
dead ex-wife. You're not gonna move back to fucking. They weren't together, and he was.
Mm.
Even there's even a point where Jeff
Mm.
asks him like, "Hey, do you think you and mom ever would have got back together?" And Chase kind of like
Oh.
goes away from it. So like that's what I'm saying.
Sometimes
The
dead
only
is
thing
better
that tells
here.
me sometimes dead is better.
Dead is better.
So we're from New England, guys. Joe's in a different part of the continent at the moment, but we're
Rhode
all from
Island
up here,
accent
so
in
Yeah.
South Philly.
Yeah,
hell
so
yeah, man.
we can at least do Maine.
Yeah, so that scene was really good, and then to kind of go in like almost like a somber tone, more on Drew and Gus. Man, I'll tell you what, this is talk about fucking heartstring central and break. Somebody must be cutting some goddamn onions. When Gus shoots Zowie and fucking
Oh,
Drew
dude.
stays with her till she passes away,
Ye-
and then that fucking the moment when "Fading Away" by Jan King comes in, it
Mhm.
fucking crushes you. That song, dude. I'm an animal lover, man. Like I love my fucking dogs.
Yeah, and even the
more
dog's a
than
good
anything.
damn actor. It's like the cat.
Right, dude, that dog can
Yep.
do so much shit, and God bless him because he had to get covered in fucking filth, dirt, blood, prosthetics on his side. He had to. pretend like he's limping. That dog did a lot, and they didn't use
That dog was a very
extra
good
dogs. It was just that one
And
Zowie.
a beautiful fucking dog too, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know what, a husky or something, but
It had to have been like
man,
a husky mix or something.
what a beautiful dog. And that scene, and like I know what that's like to like literally lay down with my dying dog, not getting shot, but I mean I've had dogs pass away, and I had a dog named Lady, you guys both remember, and I laid with her the morning she passed away. So like I remember that, and like it's literally like I'm glad I'm wearing some glasses today because you guys would see me tearing up. Like
And all of it
scene
happened.
Really hits me hard.
And all of it happened, and this is the thought that I had when I watched this again. It all only happened because Drew got cock blocked, or Gus got cock blocked. That's the only reason why it happened. He was about
to do with the rabbits.
Dude, the mom's so hot. Can we just say?
Thank you. Shout out
She's
to
so
Amanda
fucking hot.
Whatever in it, Gilbert. She is a smoke show.
She is
Best
such a
looking
smoke
woman in the
show.
movie. I'm talking fucking. Excuse me, man. You can make me some biscuits any day.
Dude, Clancy Brown looks like a goddamn caveman, and somehow he got to tap that shit. Good for him. But the only reason why he shot Zowie was because
the dickhead always gets the fucking hot, nice housewife. Honestly, it's just a thing, man. It's the nature.
The ultra Chad.
It is what it is. Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, he's.
Yep.
So
it only
Amanda,
happened.
Shout out to you.
But like same
Rest in
thing.
peace. We
All
gotta
of
come
this
up with
stuff.
a segment of fucking dime pieces that go to heaven.
Oh fuck yeah, dude. All this shit just keeps happening and
spoiler
spiraling
alert,
because cock blocked.
Something might happen to Amanda later in the movie if you don't know. We're gonna get into that in a little bit. Yeah, so that's why. And it just that scene fucking ruins me, man. And then but what's amazing about that scene is that's the catalyst that sets off essentially like the second half of the movie. You know what I mean? Or some people would say that because movies are typically written in
that was
phases,
like that was like the first act.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the end of the first act going into the second act. We're like, oh, now we're actually gonna get to see the fucking walking in through the bog, and we're actually gonna get to see the burial ground. And this movie, just like the first movie, the one thing I'm kind of sad about is neither one of them took the opportunity to really get into the Windigo lore, which sucks because that's an amazing part of the book. That's an amazing part of what happens. Joe,
I'm actually glad you brought that up.
Well, I was gonna throw it out to you.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I know you know
let's have Joe fucking. This will be his real
so
time to shine really quick.
If you don't know about the book, I'm gonna let Joe. We're gonna hit like a pause on our favorite scenes because that was a good segue into it.
Oof,
Talk about the lore a little bit and why. Go ahead, you take over the helm.
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's been a while since I read the book, but every time my mind goes to when I think of what they were talking about the Windigo, I think about. Oh man, I guess I think about Judd's backstory when he was talking about when the one again with the lore and the lore and the lore and all that, how it just keeps like this repetitive cycle. I keep going back to he told a story about a young man who died in the war. His parents buried him there. He came back. That's where the monkey's paw inspiration came from with Stephen King. But the thing they don't talk about, you know a little bit in the first movie, you see a little bit in this movie, because the obviously something's embodying the dead bodies of the people who get buried in the soil. So, but in the book, the young man that that died in the war came back. He talked to Judd, and then he talked to him in this very menacing, evil spirit way, where it was like it wasn't just go out there and do these things. It's very aware of its existence, and so they don't touch on that in the first two movies, I don't think. But there's an essence of it.
Yeah.
Especially you look at Gus's character when he's possessed by
you can tell that there's some kind of an entity or a spirit or something controlling them. Like you kind of get the hints, but they don't talk about it. You know what I mean? And then even the first movie, what's the dead guys with the brains coming out of his head? What's his name?
Paco. I think it's Pascal.
Yeah.
Pascal. Thank you. I forgot the W. So like, even he doesn't. Now in the book, I'm pretty sure he does, and I should have revisited the book before we did this, but it's been busy.
It's all good. No, Pascal's in the book. I know that much. I don't know if he actually talks about them or not. I think he's the one who kind of like, it's almost like the guiding spirit.
Well, that shows how much power. It's not just the burial. It's the power of the illusion that this once this thing's awakened, there's the bodies being coming back to life. There's the illusion, not the illusion. Well, yeah, illusion, but you see spirits. You see the people having these nightmares and all this. It's a little bit of everything. I gotta give a shout out to the remake because the remake actually does that a little bit.
At least they mentioned the Wendigo. That's the thing.
So when the little girl's talking with Judd before she kills him in the remake, they're having that battle of dialogue that was in the book. So that
That's awesome.
So
Yep.
yeah, but
It's one of those things
with
I
Gus
wish they
being,
would have. Oh, go ahead. So
no, I was gonna
I
say
didn't
real
mean to
quick,
cut you
and
off.
with Gus, and I know we'll get back. I know we'll talk about him attacking Drew at some point. When I watched that this morning, that reminded me of the scene of Judd talking about when he encountered the in full flesh. It's something about that, that whole scene when he's attacking Drew and he's jumping on the car, and
Yeah,
my mind went immediately to that. So
And that's real quick because I mean, obviously, we're talking about Pet Sematary too, but that's the one thing, the one real big highlight from the remake that came out last 2 years ago
mhm.
that the other two movies didn't do. They actually talk about the lore. They kind of show the Windigo in the background, like on the way to
yeah,
the
just like
burial ground.
once. Yep.
Um, I think walking through the water or something when they have to go through the bog. But they actually at least talk about it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And when Judd's wife comes back, like that's a fucking, that's where the little girl turns into Judd's wife or whatever. I think she uses the illusion or something along
Yeah,
those lines. It's been
there
a
you
while
go.
since I saw it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's they're evil spirits essentially that overtake the bodies that are buried in the burial ground. It's almost like a window for like demons to come through, and that's essentially what the Wendigos are if you don't know.
And other
And
lore
it's
is like cannibalism too causes it
yeah,
to take
yeah,
over.
yeah, and,
Well,
they
and
do go back
they
to
kind of
the
talk about that in the remake too with cannibals, don't they? With the or like the kids
I,
being all fucked up.
that I don't know.
The,
I know that they
the
talk
last
about
I haven't watched it in a while.
it's been a while. I've only seen it a couple times, but a lot of people shit in that movie. Look, it wasn't a
Dude, I
perfect
love
movie.
it.
None of them are
Love
perfect
it.
movies. The original Pet Sematary is still probably the best one out of all of them, as far as a movie and a horror movie goes. Um, but to me, Pet Sematary 2 is still, well, I don't want to say where it fits yet because that's for the end.
right.
I don't know if we're gonna do a rating or anything. We haven't figured that out yet, but we're gonna talk about where it fits.
I mean, I
Sorry,
definitely will regardless at the end. But let me just say really
so
quick before we go down and start talking about you're right, Ed. I would call that act 2. I just wanted to say my funny thing really quick. Did you guys notice in the ambulance? So like when they're showing Chase Zowie and like he's got like the bullet wound, is like, oh, some psychopath got trigger happy. I love that, by the way. When Drew Buddy is getting out of the ambulance, he struggles so fucking hard. I don't know if it was like the actor or something. He was like that was, I hate to say, he was such a fat kid, and it was 6 inches off the ground, and he like and like almost falls. It's like,
No,
buddy,
I didn't notice that.
it's like, dude, I'll have to tape it for you or something. Dude, he is jumping off 6 inches and he almost falls flat in his fucking face. And for some reason, like, that's the cut we're gonna use.
I want to get in. We're gonna get into that in a little while because after we're talking about all the highlights, I have a couple lowlights that I really want to talk about.
Yeah,
And
that's better to do.
Drew comes up a bunch. That's all I'm gonna say.
Drew
There's
and
quite
Gus.
a few things with Drew.
I say a lot of shit about
Gus,
Drew and Gus.
I don't. I mean, I'm talking about like the scenes with Drew. They didn't do that kid any favors. Put it that way. And again, we're gonna talk about the not so good stuff that holds up in a little while.
Oh, I got
Let's get
some
through
good
more
shit
of the
for him
stuff
later.
because yeah, we're gonna it might even, I'm telling you, it might make you rethink about how our opinions go. Who knows? But so I'll skip forward a little bit more because a lot happens in there. But this movie really it moves fucking fast.
And don't forget about the nightmare scene with Jeff too, because a lot of people that I've seen in reviews skip that Jeff nightmare scene, like when it's all like the blue lights and fucking it gets all crazy. I didn't want to
fucking Zowie
good. You
sitting
guys,
in the rocket chair.
Yes, and then you get the mask and shit, like that creepy ass fucking Zowie mask. A lot of people, for some reason, I watched reviews recently just so we could kind of talk about this and compare. No one mentions that scene. I don't get why. I think it's so fucking creepy, and I think
a lot of people don't like nightmare scenes. I think they don't like dream sequences.
Well, then they really wouldn't like a certain movie called Nightmare on Elm Street if they really don't like nightmare scenes. Then Joe, huh?
There is a lot of those kind of sequences in this movie
that's hilarious.
There's a lot of nightmare sequences or like dreamlike sequences that kind of happen. And this movie doesn't have one tone; it's got a bunch of tones, and I think that's probably
it tries a lot. And yeah,
which again, that's all for the lowlight stuff. We're gonna get into that in a minute. But so, I mean, we're gonna get into probably where this movie really starts becoming why it's such a favorite of mine and probably both of yours is the fucking dirt bike chase scene. Like when Drew and Jeff go to, which I mean, we're not, I'm skipping over some stuff because I have like a crescendo that I'm going to build up to because we are skipping over a couple things right now. But the dirt bike scene where fucking Clyde comes in on his dirt bike and chases Jeff and pushes him off the fucking highway or whatever. and goes down, and he's like, hey, Junior, you ever see somebody what happens to a bike, or rip off somebody's nose or whatever he says, and he's like getting the crank going, getting the tire spinning real fast, and he's kind of messing with Jeff, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, dun dun dun, here comes Gus, right? Fucking dickhead Gus, but zombie Gus.
But zombie Gus.
We kind of jumped over some stuff, which I'm gonna again. I never said I was gonna go linear. We're gonna go back.
No, we're just talking about our favorite moments right now, anyway.
Just
so
some
fine.
basic because I'm building to a crescendo because I'm just gonna spoiler alert it. There's a lot about Gus we're gonna talk about in a minute. I'm going through everybody else's scenes first.
Yeah.
So this is really where like I think Clancy Brown. How can I explain it? So. He's amazing in this movie in general, which
he fucking nails it.
Crescendo. This specific scene though. So this is where the bully gets his fucking dues, which you're always gonna root for that to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the reasons why it stuck with me so hard. But like when he, tells Jeff to get the fuck out of there, or whatever, and he shoves Clyde down, and he picks up the bike, and he's like, "Hey, Drew, man. I mean, hey, Gus, what the fuck, man? What are you gonna do? Arrest me?" And then he hits him and he knocks him down. Picks up the bike and starts revving it. The subtle shit Clancy Brown does in this fucking scene, dude, is amazing. He's like, I'm just fucking with you.
Which is using Clyde's own words against him.
Exactly. And if you think about it now, flash forward, it sounds like Mr. Krabs because that's who he plays in fucking SpongeBob going, I'm just fucking with you. I
didn't know that. That's funny.
And then he paints his face red like Mr. Krabs.
Exactly. Have you ever seen SpongeBob, Joe?
Yeah, it's actually funny.
Dude, that's where
Mr. Krabs is Clancy Brown.
Yeah,
I did not know that. That's crazy.
That's where I'm gonna say. So, as a fucking video game nerd, this is for all you Twitch people out there. I like video games a lot. One of my favorite video games is actually this is a quick thing. Crash Bandicoot 2: Wrath of Cortex. Do you know who voices Dr. Neo Cortex, the bad guy? Clancy Brown, boys.
It's Clancy Brown.
It's Clancy Brown, and he does the fucking evil villain laugh that he does in Pet Sematary 2. I'm not kidding. Whenever he goes, that's the fucking laugh he does in Crash Bandicoot 2.
It's kind of a chuckle. It's a really deep, guttural chuckle.
And the best time he does it, I don't know if you guys will catch it. The best time he does his little fucking Gus laugh is when he's walking up the stairs and he fucking trips. And he sits there for a second. And he goes, and he keeps fucking laughing. And he keeps fucking walking up the stairs more.
Well, even in the motorcycle scene, I mean, literally going from "I'm fucking with you" to like when the scarf, Clyde's
scarf catches,
and he goes, "Whoops!" Like, he goes, "Whoops!" Like the fucking subtle things, and then like the faces he's making when he's doing it, like and he's going crazy. Dude, when the blood splatters and hits his face,
and he starts doing all this.
Dude, the subtle shit he does in that scene is fucking unbelievable.
What is it?
It's so good.
Mary Addison, I think, directs the movie. Mary
Lambert.
Mary Lambert. Thank you. Mary Lambert must have.
She did the first one too.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. She must have told fucking Clancy, dude, just go nuts during this scene. Dude, like the drill scene. Just do whatever the fuck you feel comfortable with. They had to have done that take like fucking at least 20 times and just keep doing different shit because when this was perfect. They definitely nailed it. He is the star of the fucking show in pretty much every scene he's in.
This is where like the big, we're gonna blow our wad on Clancy Brown right now because this is the Clancy
I would
Brown.
love to blow my wad on Clancy Brown.
This is better than him in Shawshank, which is amazing, another fucking Stephen King novel.
Mm-hmm.
This is better than him as the Kurgan in fucking Highlander. This is better than him. This is absolutely his number one movie. This is his time to shine. This is
excuse you.
He's the absolute best.
He's the absolute best in The Mandalorian. Wow, dead silence. Wow. All right, nope, never mind. Sorry, guys. But spoiler. He's in fucking. He's in The Mandalorian. He's one of the aliens.
Whatever. Who cares?
I guess I'll fuck myself.
So
bye.
So the motorcycle scene leads into
the tech guy's leaving.
Another good. Just keep it going, man. We're just
fuck you. We'll just turn it off.
So that leads into another great Gus scene where he fucking hunts Drew down back of their house, which Ben was just kind of talking about. And Drew runs and grabs the gun, and he turns around or whatever. He's looking for his keys, and fucking he goes,
"Drew, buddy,"
and which is a callback to an earlier scene with him where he's like, "Drew, buddy, lost my keys. Found them." It's so fucking good.
By the way,
It never gets old.
did you notice that Gus magically teleports inside the house? Because it's literally, I counted it.
Yeah.
It's 5 seconds from when he pulls up in the
Again,
car. And I know
yeah,
it's a horror trope. It's fine.
There is
but
some
He pulled a
issues
Michael
with it, but
Myers. Come on.
yeah.
true.
With
All
this
right,
movie,
all right. You
let
got
it
me.
go. You don't care.
It-
You
All right.
really do look past something like that. Gus gets a pass because he's fucking amazing.
Yes.
But then
yeah.
he chases him around the house and dopey fucking bag of wet clothes Drew is fucking frumpy and falls all over the place.
So
And then
fun.
he
So
fucking,
fun watching a fat
jumps
kid
out the window.
fight
And then
for
he
his life.
fucking, his mom pulls up a hot ass Amanda. See you in heaven, girl. Fucking jumps in the car, and then that leads into the chase where fucking they're going back and forth, and he's amazing in that when he pulls up alongside of the car, the high speed chase.
Don't forget, he jumped on the car. He's like, "Daddy's not
did.
done." Still one of my
That's right.
favorites.
Then he smashes the
hammer.
fucking hammer into
Yep.
the window.
Dude,
That whole scene is amazing.
the face
And
he
then
makes when he's
smashes-
falling off the car. He's like, I thought that shit was so. This shit was so
Into-
funny.
One of the best, most original death scenes of all time. No, not a car going into a Mack truck head on. No, death by potato.
Yep.
Really
It's a
quick.
by
good
potato
scene.
truck.
I know I'll still like it. And then
For some reason,
watched
as a
it.
kid, I always thought it was oranges. I don't know. When I rewatched it, like a couple years ago, I'm like, it was actually potatoes this whole time. I don't know why in my
Come
head.
on, we're not in Florida, man.
Oh, now imagine though, death by oranges. But yeah, no.
Would have been juicy.
Why,
Hey.
out of all of the puns, so he says so many fucking puns in this movie, mainly about being a cop, obviously. Why doesn't he make a fucking potato pun here? What the fuck?
I don't know. Maybe we got too cheesy.
Who knows? Yeah.
Hey, I got an earful for ya. And fucking, he walks away. Like, that's it. Mic drop. Bam. You made a fucking shitty potato pun. That's
He
it.
could
You
have
nailed
made
it.
a scalloped potato joke. He could have
Yep.
made a French fry joke.
Yep.
He could have made a mashed potato joke.
Chop that
he
one
could've-
up.
I mean, he call back to mashed potatoes when he's shoving the food into his mouth and he starts doing that.
Nice.
And then all of a sudden
Nice.
he slams the table and looks at him all serious. One of my favorite scenes too.
That's still another great scene. And that
Yep,
really
another
pulls in a
classic.
lot of the dark comedy that pulls into it because this guy's
Oh.
obviously a horrible person,
Dude,
and they
They
turn
set
him
him up-
and they turn him into kind of likable person, but it's
Yes.
not gonna work. It's something
Right.
it's an underbelly to this. Like, okay, wow, it's a perfect family now. He died, which we didn't
Yep.
get into that how he died when he found him at the Halloween
well,
party to punish him.
rewind. That was again. I wanted to skip over a couple different things, but go back to that. The Halloween
And
party.
so the Halloween party, and then
Mhm.
now it's funny because you had like Gus kind of be killing the bully. The dog killed Gus as like another thing.
That's
where it's
another
like,
bully fucking redemption thing.
the bully redemption thing. So
Yep.
it's like, oh my god, is the dog and Gus good guys?
Yes.
But then
Well,
not.
Yeah.
here's the thing, though. So here's the thing about the movie. So foreshadowing, right? One
Mhm.
thing I don't think anybody's caught on yet is all of the dead things add to their own army. Zowie kills Gus.
That is why I always talk about. I love the fact it is kind of like it's
Right.
an army
It's-
army of
it's
the dead side.
because so Zowie protects Drew at the thing, kills Gus, but realistically, was he doing the nice thing or was he recruiting
He
for
was
his
just
death
recruiting.
army?
And
right?
now, let
And
me go on
then-
that real quick. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, and then think about it like this: who's the next recruit? Clyde, right?
hmm
Right. No, so Gus knows that he's doing the justification thing. He's getting back at the bully, or is he recruiting for his dead army?
hmm
But plot
He
hole,
did.
how did they do the you have to bury your own? Why did Gus bury Clyde and that still counted?
That's a good one. Maybe it's a kill. Maybe it's his own kill.
Maybe
His
because-
first kill. So it's his
Maybe
own.
because he killed him. Yeah, it had to have been.
That was my thing.
So good plot hole.
I was thinking about that, and it was like, why would that be considered
That's
his
I
own?
never.
I
I didn't even think of
it's
that, yeah.
always he comes up and it says you have to bury your own. That's the rule.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense with the mom. It makes sense with Zowie. It makes sense with fucking the
Drew
Creeds.
Barrymore, and Gus.
It made sense with all the Creeds and stuff, but it never made sense when Gus buries Clyde.
It has
not
to
your
be
own.
because it's a kill.
That's the
And
kill.
That's what it has to be.
Do we actually know that he ever got buried? Could he be some kind of an evil sadistic thing a different way? Could he just be a
no,
zombie?
because you
Could he
see
just be a demon?
you see Gus put Clyde in the bag.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Well. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that because we don't see Gus bury him though.
No,
I don't remember.
you
anything.
just see him put it. He's like, oh, he does say something. He's like, oh, mind if we borrow you or something like that. Is put him in the body bag.
When so the interesting thing, like I said earlier about the mom's death being the catalyst, this family moves in and all this shit starts happening, but it does it at the same time because and I don't know, maybe this is the way the ground pulls people to it, because like like now you got the dog dying that actually started the whole army of the dead thing. Because the dog dies,
Mm-hmm.
kills Clyde, not Clyde, Gus.
Gus. Yeah.
Yep.
He gets buried, kills Clyde, and they don't really bring, because with Pet Cemetery it's usually like it's with the first one it was the cat and then the son and then the wife. With this, it's like the kid would want his mom back, but he doesn't. He's like, no, I don't. This is bullshit. I don't really want to do this. But he doesn't do it until everything else happens. His mom doesn't get brought back to the end. So it's almost like she dies at the beginning, she's brought to the town, and they don't bring her till the end. So that's an interesting little thing.
Speaking of a dream sequence to bring that back, the dream sequence where he has to bury his mom, when it pans in, it looks like it's at her gravestone. Like it comes over like the fucking trees going into the burial ground, and all of a sudden it's grass in her gravestone.
Yep.
And I remember like watching it the other night going, wait, what the fuck? Like Gus brought the fucking gravestone that he ran over all the way up. Like that doesn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden, like when Gus hands the shovel to fucking to Jeff, and he goes, "You got to bury your own, buddy." And he fucking all of a sudden he's got normal guy voice, and he like all of a sudden when Jeff gets the the shovel handed to him, it's like the shitty like rock and earth again. So that's a little quick dream sequence.
And that's what I thought too. Because I was watching. I was like, well, this
Yeah.
looks kind of fake. But then I'm like, well, then it's a because it looks like he's on the set of a play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't really look realistic. But then again,
well, if you think about that,
it like this,
she's the actor.
That happens a lot. It happens a lot with Jeff. Jeff has a lot of the dream sequences. So maybe that's an underlying story.
and that goes to with her, the mom
realize.
being the cat. Yeah, that goes with the mom being the catalyst. So it's almost like they wanted her. Was she supposed to be like a queen of the dead? That's like
now, dude. I chalked it up as like, oh, like the ground, the Indian burial ground, like that whole area. It's sort of the idea of bringing your loved one back. That is tempting. That's alluring to Jeff to be like, hey buddy, you want to bring your mom here. Once he was there, he saw it work. Dude, that thought must have cycled through his head. No matter what fucking evil thing he saw, no matter how bad Gus looked, no matter how bad Zowie looked, he still wanted his fucking mom back.
Oh, and that's grief. That's what grief does.
Yeah, to be like,
that's a powerful thing about it.
No matter how bad this shit is, dude, it could bring my mom back. Motherfucker, if the same thing happened to my mommy, I would never let that happen, but I would bring her back. I love my mommy. I'm just kidding.
So I'm gonna switch it to another scene. Give a little light on somebody that's not one of the characters we just talked about. The scene where Chase Matthew gets the call about the fucking Zowie's blood being from a dead animal, and the lady brings in the two little kids with the kittens. The kittens, they start screaming. So like, it's a crazy scene because it goes from like Chase just doing his thing, picks up the phone. It's from his buddy or whatever, his doctor friend. And it's like, hey man, why'd you send me blood of a dead animal? Like blah blah blah. And they go back and forth. And then the little girls walk to the back to see the kittens. Well, it turns out the kittens are mangled. Zowie got out. And then that also leads into one of my favorite scenes. I don't remember the OG vet's name. That's one.
Yeah, I meant to write down. I forgot too.
If you look up on Wikipedia, they don't show it for whatever reason. So I don't know who that guy is, but so creepy old taxidermy vet. Chase goes to this guy's house to try to talk to him. He goes in, there's some creepy fucking taxidermy, and he's like fucking with the pug. He's like, you look better with blue eyes.
He just fucking so pops weird. It out.
That still freaks me out.
The whole thing's fucking.
And you see the eye fucking like
the dog isn't.
Yeah.
The dog is dead. Just like the Creed's cat.
Just like a Creed's cat.
And he just starts going on and you could tell he's insane because of it all, because he doesn't he doesn't know what to do. So you see his insanity. So there's a lot of different things going on. There's like zombie, there's ghost stuff, there's Jesus Christ,
mental
kind of necrophilia.
Issues
there's some mental issues, a little bit of insanity. There's a lot of things that are in this movie. That string a bunch of different horror tropes together, but they fit,
which is nice.
But the fuck when he throws the fucking thing at the bird, and all of a sudden the bird wakes up.
The bird's alive.
It's so good.
The bird's like
real quick
fake at that time.
That was so random too.
That scene is where you hear the sound of a guitar slowly coming in, and all of a sudden, when I get mad and I get pissed,
there it is.
I grab a pen and I write out a list. It's so, dude, L7 shit list. That song in that movie 100%
That
changed my life
transition
as
is
far as
just it's
music goes.
classic. Yeah, and that's how I heard about the song was because of that scene.
Well, it
that
leads
movie.
that scene leads into fucking Gus skinning the rabbits.
Yep.
Oh, dude, that shit was so freaky.
So like, think about that fucking 5 minutes of movie, right?
Mhm.
Chase gets the call, whatever. Something else happens in between. Goes to see the fucking OG vet. You see the insanity and what the town did to fucking the OG vet. Imagine the stories that guy could tell about what happened with the Creed, murders and everything else. Because we don't know what happened once fucking. I mean, we do know that Creed's, wife came back and fucking stabbed him. And that ends Pet Sematary 1.
Right. Well,
Spoiler
what happens
alert
after
if
that?
you never saw it.
Well, as
What
he said
happens
too, he's
after?
like,
We don't know.
like,
The movie
so
just
was
stopped.
Lewis's wife when she died the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
And that leaves
So all
imagination, though. It's what I like about that. And again, that goes with lore and folklore
Mhm.
and all that stuff.
all that sets up a bunch of amazing stuff. And the shitless thing I wanted to bring up because that's one of those songs in this movie. That's the song from this movie. Like that's the song that everybody fucking
Mhm.
knows. It's everywhere. If you look up that that song on YouTube, half the comments are Pet Cemetery
Pet
2,
Sematary 2.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's fucking amazing. But that also just leads to I mean, we didn't go crazy talking about the soundtrack yet, but Dramarama, I Got Spies,
I'm trying
this
not
song,
to.
Mhm.
there's so many. There's the end song, which we're gonna get into in a minute, but amazing use of a song, and then okay. So back to now that we gave a little bit more life to Chase Matthews. We're gonna get into some really fun stuff. When fucking Chase realizes that some shit's up, and he goes to fucking Gus's house to try to fucking stop it because he gets the call that his dead wife's been
Mhm.
dug up.
And
He
Zowie
goes to
fucking
the
attacks
thing.
him first.
Zowie, one of the
God, I hate that
best /
dog.
worst effects when he fucking like rips the
yeah.
fucking the skin, and he goes, "Oh, I gotta hate that dog." So he walks in. This is where the fucking drill scene comes in. The house is all fucked up. Real quick too, religious imagery. One of the things that Kristen
The
brought
upside
up
down.
the first time, the upside down cross when you
Yep.
first walk in.
I'm
Yep.
trying to make
So
a
early
doggy
on,
door.
we're trying to make a. I was trying to make a
Doggy door.
More great one-liners from him.
So good. Go ahead. So that scene, if anybody else wants to chime in, because I know I'm kind of stealing it a little bit there because now I'm getting all excited about talking about Gus. That whole scene, am I crazy with the religious stuff? You see the upside down cross, Joe, right? I mean, the fucking drill. What the fuck did he? What's the thing he says? You know what they say? No brain, no pain. And he tries to. Yep.
This is a lot of great stuff. I'm letting you guys do the one liners. I can't remember one lines for sure.
It's I think he says no pain, all gain, or no pain. Yeah, no brain.
Pain, no pain, no brain. Yep.
Yeah, no pain, no brain. Yeah, and then he fucking Chase shoots him. He's like, "Oh, you hate when I hate when that happens." And I thought that was funny because he sells that so well. But then randomly he just gets shot in the head and it's over. I thought that was weird.
Well, I wonder if that's another thing with like the zombie lore, where it's like it takes.
What do you mean?
It kills the communication.
What do
like,
you mean zombie lore? What do you mean? That doesn't work here. That doesn't work in this movie. By the way, if we don't talk about that's a fucking crime. No.
Of course we're gonna talk about that.
No.
We're connected through.
I got the Halloween one.
Very nice. Very nice.
Typical. No, but yeah, that's a clean one.
So, and then what's cool going back to the scene with Clyde and Chase battling out. Chase is another character where he's got that very calm demeanor.
Yeah.
Where he's almost like he doesn't want to ruffle feathers. He almost kind of seems like, I don't want to say a coward, but he kind of looks like he pulls back too much when he should be saying certain things.
Yeah.
And it's almost like he got pushed where he's like, oh, I had enough. And then he's like, oh shit, I have a freaking 357 Magnum. Where the hell that come from? So
randomly.
That guy
He's back in
doesn't mess
heat.
around.
Dude, the fucking scene where the dream sequence where he wakes up and
wolf
he thinks
titties.
that it's his the dead wife.
That seems crazy.
Wolf titties.
Wolf titties.
Wolf titties. Wolf titties. Wolf
Dude, that's what I wrote in my
titties.
notes. Just big. That's all I could say.
I'm surprised you did it.
That's all I could think of.
When he wakes up and he realizes that it's Zowie, and Zowie jumps to the thing and he grabs his fucking gun and he starts shooting. The one thing I said to Kristen, I was like, let me tell you something right now. The way he's holding that fucking, holding it like this, like it's an assault rifle, but it's nobody taught that motherfucker. Nobody pulled him aside and went, hey man, that's not how you hold a gun.
Well, I like that though because like he's clearly a pussy. He clearly has never held a gun before, so he's probably doing it like, do I do this?
Yep.
It's just weird because he's got his arm up. It's so fucking weird.
And we know
intimidating.
shotguns too, so we know that. Like,
well,
what are you doing, dude?
That's my point. Like, what the fuck is wrong? But wolf titties.
Well,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
you get to see some fucking wolf titties.
That scene is still one of most, and then go with your music video because all the blue lighting,
Yep.
and then it's he thinks his wife, and then he pulls her body down. It's a wolf head. It's just,
And
and it goes between him having sex with a wolf-headed wife version to her dying. It's so messed up. It's like
Yeah.
one of the best like insane dream sequences. And then going back to like, it's another thing too. He also fought against a bully. The guy's talking shit about his wife. Hey, I went out with your wife when we were,
Yep.
all being I had her first type of bullshit. So you
Yep.
had that.
Homecoming, prom,
killed,
all nine
killed
yards.
the
all
dog.
9 yards.
So it's almost like the father, the protective figure,
Mhm.
closed the gap, killing off the dog.
I wanted to fuck her.
Killing off the crazy bully stepfather.
Why did you dig up my wife?
I wanted to fuck her.
Again, another good one-liner.
So good.
Yeah.
good.
Oh no, I'm out. Oh no, I'm not.
Uh-oh. I'm not. I'm
Now I'm
hot and
out.
dry,
I'm
dude.
out. I'm out on my Coca-Cola.
Um,
Feels bad.
Shit, and I can't think of.
They.
I guess we go into the final battle. I guess.
Yeah. With.
Oh. Yeah.
This is.
So. Go ahead. You guys can set this
I
one.
have too much to say about this scene because rewatching it a second time, I don't like it. I hated it. Didn't like it. I
The end
don't.
scene?
Yep, hated it. All right. So Clyde was fine. I really
here's-
liked his
here's
makeup.
what we'll do then. This is where we can go into the bad about the movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't hate this end scene, but I also don't love it. There's a lot of issues with it,
Yeah.
which we're going to get into.
Do you wanna go-
That's probably a good way to
At this
start
point,
off
do you want to go in turns, kind
I'm
of
out.
like people
Well,
going like with their
so
opinions on
you
that?
We'll talk about this scene specifically, and this
Yeah.
will kick off some of the things. Because
Yep.
this is going to get into the issues that I have with the movie.
Mhm.
There are a lot of issues in that scene.
Because now I
that
think
pop
we're
out
gonna
that-
have
which
some,
I'm gonna get into.
and we're gonna have some polarizing opinions on this one. So if anything,
Yeah, I think
if
this
you
is
want to
where
go,
the
in,
bad
if you want to go take turns, because I think this is gonna be
Yeah,
the
go
most.
ahead. You
all
talk about that scene.
Yeah, because I already said it. I don't like this scene at all. I like so Clyde was fine. Why did he bite Jeff when he doesn't have teeth in his fucking mouth? I thought that was dumb. And why did Jeff sell it? Why did Jeff? I don't like that he. I don't like the heel turn that he. For wrestling fans out there, he turns into sort of a bad guy. I get it. He really wants his mom back. But the way that they did it, he just is silent. He has like his creepy fucking tux on since the funeral. I just thought it was dumb. How did he get in contact with fucking Gus? How did he randomly get a hold of him and be like, oh, by the way, did he tell Gus dig up my mom? Because that's how I thought of it as.
No. So the way I think they do try to explain that by watching the movie, I think the setup for that is supposed to be
That goes the whole
again,
Dead Army thing.
This exactly. This goes back to the
I
Dead
know,
Army thing.
but like,
So-
how did they get Gus and then Jeff and then also go past the bog to it and then
They show. Well, they show so Gus is crazy.
Yes,
Obviously, he's a
yes,
zombie,
yes.
dead crazy zombie. So he goes and he fucking digs up Renee's
Yeah.
grave. He runs over Amanda and Drew's. The fucking caretaker says that.
yes, they
And then he brings the fucking body. He brings the body all the way out there, and then he goes and like you got to think again. This goes back to the psychosis part of it. Jeff is a kid, traumatized at that, knows that this thing works now.
right. No,
And from Jeff's eyes, Zowie might be dead, but he protected Drew from Gus.
trust me.
Fucking
if you
Drew,
listen,
Drew might be a piece of shit, but he killed fucking Clyde and saved him.
right.
So
And
this kid,
I said
this
that
kid's
at the
being
beginning.
literally guided. He's
Yeah,
doing
and it's not just by Gus or by anything. It's by the Indian burial ground. I think is like spiritually,
yeah.
kind of possessing him.
Dude,
But I still
evil preys on the weak, innocent, right? So evil will prey. It's another horror trope. It's evil will what's the word I'm looking for?
No, I think you got it.
It exploits.
Yeah,
It
it exploits the innocence.
So in other words, like
It-
this kid's he's a wounded animal on the side of the
Mhm.
road, right? So a pack will attack a wounded cat. So like if you're in a fucking herd of animals, right? I can't remember if it's a tiger or fucking wolves or something, but like if there's a wounded one, the pack will surround the fucking
I think
wounded
it's
one,
wolves.
kill it.
Yeah.
Wolves, yeah. So it's one of those things where the evil spirits. Jeff's a wounded animal. He's a broken down wounded animal. He's very fucking I don't know. Well, see, I'm losing impressionable, right? So like
Yeah.
he's young, he's impressionable. He's in that stage in his brain where like, hey man, the chemicals aren't quite right. Just saw his fucking mom die. Now he's in a fucking town that he probably didn't grow up in. He probably grew up essentially in Hollywood, right? So he doesn't understand all these people that are like, hey, we knew your mom, and like that's a lot. And then
Yeah, and
the evil spirits
it
exploited
did
it.
it a lot too. There are a lot of people who did that
Now
to their
again,
moms.
I'm not
Crazy. Oh.
Damn, it killed him. He's dead. Damn, we can have free reign to say whatever we want. The curse is over.
The mouthpiece is dead.
No. All right. So while he's having
listen.
his connection issues, oh that fucking rip Ed. Sorry, bud. I will say I will
That's
still
funny.
say I it's just funny because he's just sitting up there. No, so I just didn't like how like him and Clyde, like Jeff and Clyde have this battle at the end, which I get, same thing. Clyde's the dickhead, he's the bully,
Right,
he's got it.
Point up the bully.
Just the way that they did it, I just wasn't a fan of. How like he throws the axe and it fucking cornily fucking clinks off the ground instead of like, I wish it kind of like embedded itself into the ground a little bit more. Oh shit. Uh-oh.
Nope, I think he's coming back.
Oh.
I lost you guys. I'm
All
back.
right.
He came back from the dead.
Oh
Hey,
shit, he got
look at
buried. Somebody buried
He
his
has
own.
arisen.
Yeah.
Ed buddy.
Ed buddy.
Ed buddy.
I lost my keys. No, so they had the Clyde thing. I thought it was kind of cool how like they dealt with Clyde and like Jeff stuck the fucking wire in his mouth and did the
Eat this. Another great
yeah,
one-liner.
he did the
Actually.
commando
Nope.
thing. So he did that, but then like, why did the mom just stand there? She gladly killed the housekeeper. Why did she just stand there? Why didn't she do anything?
I'll get into that in a sec.
I thought that was so fucking dumb.
Oh. She's obviously, maybe she's like the head evil Windigo. Who knows? We don't really know, right? She might be the main bad one, but also she's all made up. So when she shows up, she's made up all perfect.
Yeah,
so
she
to
dressed
hide.
herself
So
up nice.
even more to fuck with Jeff because when she shows up, she
I
doesn't
love
look
you.
evil. Like Gus still looks all fucking zombified. Zowie still looks all fucked up. She's all
And
made up
Clyde.
because she was buried, right?
Can
so
I?
like the
And
fucking
then I have one
the
more thing.
morticians fix her face, so she's
Yeah.
trying to protect that.
And then
from
she looks
happening.
pretty.
What's weird, the fucking turn in this is why does she like while the fight's going on, is she like knocking over like
It's
lamps
stupid.
and fucking fluid and all of a sudden sets a fire and like that whole scene
And
it is
really
a
quick,
wacky scene.
and then so I have two more things
I
to
already
say.
have that on you. I
have
got that one.
Two more things to say, and then I'm done with my opinion. So it was just, I thought it was kind of weird.
Actual debate.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird that everything's on fire. Renee caused the fire. Magically, she must have sprayed something on her box that says Renee's clothes because
That shit was probably very flammable.
that never caught on fire. The Renee's clothes never caught on fire. I watched it back, and everything else was on fire except that box.
Some of the editing didn't work.
And then-
that's where I have an issue.
Here's the one really good thing I will say about this scene, and something I actually didn't notice about that. Something I have never noticed in 20 plus years of me watching this movie. I never put two and two together that she says dead is better.
Dead
Come
is
on.
better.
Dead is better. I never noticed
your
that.
whole argument sucks. It's like
Yep.
you just said that.
Nope.
Bullshit.
Never once noticed dead is better. And I fucking love it. I know she says it, but I never put two and two together that, haha, sometimes, dead is better. And she's like, no, it really is. Dead is better. I love that.
Damn.
That's all. I love the movie. I'm gonna straight out say it. Spoiler, I fucking love it. I'm gonna give it a pretty good score, but that last scene just did nothing for me. And then Chase sounding like he has puberty. Hold on. And then he's like, "Is that your mom? We gotta go!" And he fucking falls. He literally
The dude got
falls.
knocked out. He's bleeding out. Come on, I don't blame myself.
Is that your mom? Is that your mom? And then
Jeff, it's not your mom.
Jeff, is that your mom? And then
I think he's had enough of seeing dead people.
it's
Fuck
true.
yeah.
He's going back to
So-
fucking Hollywood.
with the bad, where I was gonna go with that, Ben kind of stole part of that with me. So as a kid, I'm gonna bounce around a little bit. So here's a couple of the bad things. Some of the effects don't hold up as well as what I remembered.
I'm
First one
melting.
that was rough was Dead Body Zowie, when fucking chubby boy fucking Drew's carrying her and like the head
Yeah.
just flopping around. That's not how like dead people
Yeah.
move, man.
No.
Like it's like an elastic band, like he was just moving around like Dead's out. Come on, man. So that was rough.
I agree with that.
When Clyde gets killed, the fucking terrible dummy that they have get pulled into the
I
fucking
love it.
into the motorcycle, it's bad.
It's so
See, I
funny.
actually, I like
It's
the dumb. It don't bother me too much.
it's so bad.
Oh, it
but
didn't bother me either. It's
no,
bad.
but the reason why it's bad is because there's so many other good, like the fuck when Zowie bites the fucking neck of Gus and like you see the
Yep.
fucking the skin pull out, or when Chase gets bit by Zowie and he gets out of the truck, all of a sudden you see a bunch of blood just pour out of the side.
Yep.
Like that
Oh
to me
yeah,
is
'cause it's just
amazing.
like it's all gooey and
It
shit.
just starts dry. It doesn't
Yep.
spray out like fake. It just fucking pours out.
And
of
then
him, which
same
would-
thing
which
with
would be the way it would happen.
Clyde. They made Clyde look really good when he's the zombie.
Clyde,
and then when
they
Jeff
made
puts
him
his
look
finger in the eye, like, and then the
And
fucking
then the
white,
pus comes out.
the pus.
Yep.
But you can
starts coming
tell
out.
they blew their fucking load on all that shit, and then they do terrible things like the fucking. I mean, dude, when that bike scene, you couldn't have made up like a fake something or other like you did with Clyde's face and like have that get pulled into it or something. It's literally like
I
a
think
dummy
they're
just
trying to do
gets
it so
pulled up.
fast you don't see it, but yeah.
Oh, the editing's bad on that one. That one's rough. And then what else? It makes me laugh now, to be totally honest with you. Fucking chubby boy, fucking Drew. When Clyde was by him on the motorcycle, his fucking you could have put Benny Hill music behind him, and he falls on the
He
bike.
falls
Like,
off the bike, yeah. And I think that's what
like,
goes with the whole thing bouncing with the ambulance. I think it was done on purpose because he's like he can't handle.
He's a
the bike
chubby.
load enough.
He's a chubby fat kid. That was
Right.
They
me.
didn't
I'm
do-
still like that.
They did nothing
See,
for this kid's
Ben
fucking.
knows. There you go.
Yeah, they did
I
nothing
want
for
to see. I
that
want to
kid's
see Ben
fucking
jump out of an ambulance.
self-esteem.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have a segment like that. We could recreate, and I will gladly be fucking Drew Buddy. And then I just love how, really quick, if we're talking about Drew, I love how he dressed up like a vampire, and I just kept calling him in my head Count Cholesterol in my head.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, if the shoe fits, you know.
I dropped.
I would have went with I would have went with Count type 2 diabetes, but hey, whatever, no big
Diabetes.
deal there. So then to piggyback on Ben, so Edward Furlong is one of my favorite actors as in that era, right? So we already went over
Yep.
Brain Scan, we already went over
American History
Terminator
X.
2, this movie American History X. He's got like 4 or 5 bangers, right? Oh,
Mhm.
Animal Farm,
Animal
like
Farm.
the prison movie.
Yep.
That was another good one if you've never seen it.
Oh, I didn't know he's
Willem
in that.
Dafoe was in it. Yeah, Willem
Shit.
Dafoe. It's a great movie.
Mhm.
He's got a bunch of really good movies and roles, and he's like the archetype for what like a 90 like early 90s teenage actor would look like. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like just
Terminator
grungy.
Genesis.
He's kind of a little metal. He's just there's just a lot about him. But now watching this movie as an adult, I do think they make him look like a whiny pussy. Like
Oh, he's
and
bad.
I just defended him a bunch. Like I just told you set
Oh, I'm
you
sure
up
they did.
for.
I mean, they did it on purpose. They had to like do it kind of like that.
They do. So if you look at now, what did I have here? But the odd change in character at the end is really odd. But I guess you can also chalk that up to the psychosis. But if you're not looking at it and dissecting it from like a movie lover's point of view, did we lose Joe?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, you look like you were frozen for a second. Oh, you just
Yeah, you were just
terrified.
sitting there like
Yeah,
a fucking
dude,
I'm like,
you're
statue.
that goddamn.
I'm the goddamn raven. I'm
bird.
the crow. I'm the
You're the goddamn raven. I'm gonna throw a fucking.
Yeah, I'm gonna
knife
throw a
at you or
fucking
something, as soon as-
rock at you right now.
So yeah, but I just put that he was fucking. And again, granted, I know that he's supposed to be, sympathetic and all that stuff because of his mom's death. But when he starts acting like a dick towards his dad, who's also fucking grieving, also going through a lot, it just comes off as like cunty. You know what I mean?
And you're not my mom, and he says it to the housekeeper, like, oh, that was kind of uncalled for.
Yeah, and
that was
that's
kind of
kind
mean.
of like a little bit the grievance, and he's being a little punk kid and whatnot. And
they just when you rewatch the movie that way from an adult's point of view, from like a dad's, I'm a dad, right? So my daughter's 20, and I would look at that like, I know, right? Yeah, we're kind of we're friends, and she watched all these movies with me. But like, dude, I don't know, man. If she came at me the way that kid comes at his dad, sometimes I'd be like, motherfucker, like come on, man. Like
parents will
I'm
not deal with that shit.
I'm
No way.
giving you and giving you and giving you and giving you, and he even says it at one point. Chase says to him, "Hey man, look, like I'm
after the
I'm
Halloween
letting,
episode.
letting
I'm
you get
trying.
letting you get
Yeah.
away with a lot here, but like, come on, man,
And then also you gotta understand, like, his best friend, like the only kid that would stand up for him back when he first moves here is dead and obviously killed by Gus.
Well, and I think that was the final
And that
catalyst.
all comes full circle, exactly.
That's where he turns. That's where his final.
And he's just like, fuck
when
it. Like, who cares?
Yeah, because he doesn't look at it like he doesn't know technically that Gus did it. Again, remember, he's still looking at Gus like he's essentially a good guy now that he's zombie Gus. he doesn't know that fucking Gus
I'm
killed him.
sure he knows.
It's a
I don't
little
think
weird.
he cares at that point. I think he just like shut down to it
He's
and
looking past. Yeah,
gave in. He
exactly.
gave into it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So then,
that's another like interesting little
uh,
plot hole we have to
oh
try to
yeah,
figure out.
then also when he's all dressed up like the fucking like in the tux and he's like waiting for his mommy to come
I
down,
hated
at the end
it.
of the
I'm
bed.
telling you, I
That was
hated
a
it.
weird fucking scene. I didn't like that character change at all.
So
I didn't like it because it was so quick. It was at the fucking drop of a dime.
I'll go with you on that. On one of my things I could complain about. I'm not a big fan of that scene. I don't hate it. I don't mind it. I don't mind the tuxedo thing. I think it really plays with like. I think it played very well with his change, his metamorphosis in a sense. The dialogue after all the really well done dialogue throughout the movie, the dialogue between him and his father should have been a little more stronger
Mm-hmm.
and a little more polished. And then the build up between those two of this like of the grievance and then the teenage angst and then the single father like that part and then then this kid's talking crazy shit about bringing the mom back from the dead. So that could have been a little bit stronger. I still have a problem with that scene. Now it's not horrible. Like I don't I'm more nitpicking, but at the same time it still works. It just could have been like they should have taken maybe a little more time with it. So it's a little cringy at some points. Like how they did it. So
Just
yeah.
it seemed like rush editing at the end. Like there were so many scenes that were well thought out, and well planned out, and well
And that
mapped
could be
out,
all
and
from
well
budget
edited.
and time.
Yeah, because
That's
they
always a
clearly,
high.
Well, yeah,
yeah, they probably didn't
it
get a
could have
lot.
been. It could have come from above. It could have come from fucking the studios being like, hey, Mary Lambert, like we need something else. We need more emotion
Mhm.
out of this, or maybe a test screening. It didn't go as well. I don't know. I don't know that much about that half
Yeah.
of the movie, but I think that's all I had there. Oh yeah, so that's all I had for the bad. So Joe, I don't know
Yeah.
if you have anything else bad or not.
Bad. So I'm
But
gonna go into the ending and I'm gonna go into bad real quick, and I'll lead right into the ending. So 'cause the bad won't be too much because I don't have a lot of issues with the movie. I talk about
yeah, same, same.
the chemistry with Jeff and his father was a problem for me. Some of the edits, some of the plot holes I think you guys pulled up, I agree with. Some of the editing makes it feel a little too choppy and
Mhm.
awkward at some points. Even like even with like when that whole scene between Jeff, Chase, and Miranda when she's fangirling, like right before she fangirls, that he's like, oh, he's all shocked. She looks like his wife, and then like he looks to go walk away, and he just stops. It's almost like he's waiting for the box to fall. When the box falls and the clothes comes out.
Yeah.
Like that scene, but I don't know why that scene bothers me for some reason. Like he could just like, hey, maybe
Yeah.
this is like, oh shit, I gotta check things out. Maybe that's what's supposed to be on because he had like a little checklist and shit. And then so that was a little weird editing. So it's like little things like that. What you guys mentioned about like it's almost like when they got to the end, it's almost like they're trying to speed things along.
Yeah.
Even the I'm trying to think now.
It just felt like
It was
they
probably a
tried to
time
make
constraint thing.
they tried to make a
Back
2 hour
then,
long movie, and then it had to be
Yeah.
less than an hour and a half. It had
Yeah,
like it
back
has to
then
be.
that was. I mean,
Yeah.
Joe knows, and Ben, you probably know too. If you look at especially like from the '80s to like the mid, maybe even late '90s, especially horror movies, most of them are like 90 minutes or less. I mean,
this was
real
an hour and
talk,
40
most of
minutes
them are less.
actually.
Yeah, so this just broke.
It
So it's
just
what
broke it.
100 minutes,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it goes by fast. So I really do think that it's an editing thing. I feel like they shot way more of this movie. I wonder if there's some kind of a director's cut out there that maybe there's some scenes we don't know. I've never seen anything, so
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
that I'll jump right into the ending with you guys. Now, I liked the final battle. Now, yeah, some of the wrestling is a little cheesy, like him wrestling on Clyde and
Yeah,
almost
it's
like
fun.
the axe throwing
That's fine. Yeah, that
and like even like when like Jeff's also he's able to dodge all these fighting moves and whatnot. It's almost like you can kind of just metaphorically take it as like, oh wow, he's now he's coming out of his own. He's fighting grief. He's fighting this bully. He's able to finally like.
Mhm.
It's almost like a cheesy strength thing. It almost seems like so like he's overcoming these obstacles. So yeah, there's a little bit. Now I'm weird. I'm like with Ben on Renee starting the fire, but I'm also kind of like she's again what's called the catalyst thing. If she's the main or like even like Ed said, like the main evil Windigo or some Queen of the Dead thing, like she's not
Yeah.
gonna attack anybody. She wanted kill Miranda because she dressed like her, in that whole scene. But I think she's meant to be more of a mouthpiece, like kind of like I'm going to um manipulate my grieving son, and then I'm going to try and manipulate my ex-husband and be like pull him into this, and then maybe kill them. I think that's what the whole, because each thing that takes over each person takes over their personality while its monago parts are coming out. It's a kind of almost like the personality of the spirit and the person are kind of molding.
Right.
So like where Gus or maybe Clyde would try to kill them off, she's not going to be like that. She's going to continue to manipulate, and that's where the great imagery comes in when she sets that fire, and then they get out, and her face is melting. Like that is
See, like I like that scene. I
that is
like
that
when her fucking face
metaphor.
starts melting. Yep,
Oh, it's
I like
amazing. That scene hit me.
And then you can actually see like the scars from the post where she
and
gets
that goes
electrocuted.
with and that goes with what truly lies underneath us all, kind of what the situation, everything, and it
I also
really
think
just,
it kind of
peels
I
back.
think it unvilifies or it justifies like it's when Jeff realizes like he snaps out of it. Like that's kind of what pulls him out. Like, oh shit,
Exactly.
like, oh, she's not my
Excuse me.
mom, and this isn't,
And then to go with
nice.
I need some water. Go with the dead is better. That line was perfect to go with that character. Her face is melted. She's like, "Stay with me. Dead is better," and that goes with the whole manipulation thing. I think, like, just that,
Right.
and it's like, now again with the cheesy effects, she's standing there. She's not doing anything. She's just doing the standing there, almost kind of like on a pedestal, and then her whole body melts down, and she's still standing there as a skeleton. It finally falls. So that's a little weird.
Yeah, she like magically turns into a skeleton so quick, and it's just like they did that thing with the camera, and I'm personally just not a fan of it. Like the flashy, like it's running at fucking like 3 frames a second, and it's just like going like this, like ooh, like all crazy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like with the nightmare scenes, they did it a bunch. With the final battle, they did it a bunch. It's kind of like not a direct comparison, but Zack Snyder does that a ton except it's like more slow motion instead. He does that.
Rob Zombie messes around with color and schemes and music because he came from the music video era. So like it's like go back that rock and roll and horror. It really just play off the era,
which is true because that plays off of to what Ed said, and it just seems they made it seem like it was just a giant MTV music video, which I actually never thought of that, and thinking about that actually makes me appreciate the nightmare scenes a little bit more because that was the time period, like that's MTV. Bam, perfect, like fucking rock and roll horror. It literally looks like Pantera's fucking music video for Cemetery Gates, like that blue light, and like they did a really good job with like the fog and stuff. So it does kind of that's a good point. I actually like that comparison.
And
almost like I know what I'm talking about.
The final ending part was I love and hate the ending because they drive away. I'm glad to see characters survive instead of just everybody dying.
Tiger survived.
Yeah.
Tiger survived. Yes.
Tiger survived. Yep, Tiger's the best.
And so that's a great thing because then now even though they survived, their whole story becomes the next part of the lore. Now I would love to see a third one after that one, and then now go with the score and the soundtrack and music, the way the van drives away, and then you see the old burial ground
come up and they all kind of talk and stuff.
That's a little cheesy, but it fits. It does it because it's almost like, okay, well,
they
why do we care about the shitty people?
They put them
more about who got claimed,
and they put them in the fucking the oval, like whenever you go to a funeral and
it looks like Days of Our Lives.
Well, like you take one of their cards, like and it says like the obituary card, and like it says a nice little passage. It literally is the same thing. That's the first thing that went in my head.
That's a neat thing because the whole thing is about grieving and
death. That was the first thing I chalked that up as, oh, it's one of those mortuary cards, and then like they're trying to be like, oh, it's like a grieving thing, and they're trying to kind of quickly go over the people who died. Mainly, it's about the shitty people for some reason.
Yes, that's pretty good, Ben.
That is me.
We call it an homage. Thank you.
Oh,
obituary homage.
Yeah, you know what?
It's a vitriol. It's a little bit of an homage.
I try to come up with,
or if you grow up in the hood, they call it homage.
Oh, a nice little homage. Fucking nice little hummus. No, I try to. Yeah, let's get some hummus in here and
yucky. It looks like baby poop.
Some nice Gus hummus.
Ew.
But then the movie ends with the nice little homage to the bad characters, and then fucking best part of the movie. Bam! It slams into Poison Heart, which is one of my favorite songs. And
no, it's Pet Sematary first, actually. Pet Sematary by Ramones.
Nope.
No.
So it is a Ramones song, but Pet Sematary, Ramones ends the first movie.
Dude,
So with
just
this,
watch it.
what
Guys,
they're
like
When I texted the
What-
group last night, the
Yeah.
very first thing was
Poison
it
Heart
was
is a
Poison
Ramon
Heart.
song. So it's
Man,
it's
I
a
just-
Ramon song, but that's why. Yeah, the
Oh.
reason why it's because
am I mixing up?
both movies
Huh?
end with a Ramon song. That's why.
And it's like they
But the
did that on
first one is
purpose.
Pet Sematary, which is hands down their best song in my opinion.
You're right, because I haven't
Mary
seen
Lambert.
my playlist. Yeah. So I'm getting them mixed up.
Yes,
It
and
sounds
then
almost like. Yep.
well,
Every
I'll have
fucking
more
Ramon
coffee.
song sounds exactly the same.
Oh,
other than
dude,
those two
yeah.
songs.
That too.
So
Like,
and it's like
I mean,
so
which is
backstory for
awesome,
me. Every single person that knows me knows this is gonna come out. I like him, the band, a fucking ton. And not only do they do a Poison Heart cover that I grew up with and I fucking adore, I thought for the longest time that was the original one until I watched Pet Sematary. I'm like, wait, that sounds super fucking familiar.
You know
Found
what,
out
Ben?
it's
I'm not gonna
Ramones.
lie to you. I never even think. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the hymn version of that.
Dude,
I
the
forgot
hymn
to. I
version,
didn't even think of that
so much better, dude. I listened to that
Wow.
shit. No, you gotta listen to it, and I'm not just saying that to be biased.
I'm
Hymn
not
version's
better.
better.
Defending the Ramones version. I'm just saying, like, I probably know the hymn version better, and I didn't even realize. And I'm a music guy, so
That's one of the best songs on Dark
but
Light. But yes,
can we
bam.
all start a crooning version of I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery.
I don't
So
wanna,
Not
we're
singing.
gonna
Guys,
call ourselves the Tone Deaf Trio. You're welcome.
don't wanna
We actually
live my
can't
life
carry a tune,
again.
Again. Yeah. So we pretty much did it, guys. That's a fucking dissection of a movie that I don't know if anybody ever wanted, but they got it.
They got
So
I feel like we did a pretty good job.
we definitely went longer than we wanted to. So let's end it.
not by much.
No. Let's end it on final thoughts, and then let's go to Ed first, boys. Final thoughts, and then let's give a score.
I'll go last
1 out of
because
10.
I talk the most. So
All right.
Joe, you can do yours.
Yeah.
Ben, then I'll go.
Score 1 to 10, please.
What?
Score
What-
1 out of 10.
a 1 out of
But
10.
So final
1 out of
thoughts?
10 what?
1
1 out of 10.
Huge number.
Oh,
Hold on,
1 out of 10.
hold on. 1 out of 10. On this movie, we're gonna go with on a scale of 1 out of 10
Drill bits.
Gus one-liners. How many Gus one-liners would you give this movie?
Because he probably gives about 10, so yeah, that's fair.
9.5, almost 10, maybe even like.
Holy.
I'm gonna say 9.5. Just keep it because of the little issues. It doesn't make it a perfect movie, but it's like it's kind of perfect to me. I'm at the point now. I love it so much though. I would love to see them remake it, but be a sequel to the last remake. It's just because I want to see what you could do to modernize that type of storyline from the last remake and just go batshit crazy, like just as crazy. I would love to see that. That's how much I love the sequel. I want to see somebody try and pull that off again. I don't think they will be able to, but that's it for me. Yeah.
All right. So holy shit. I don't know if I can't top that score. My score definitely isn't that high. I'll say my score at the end. I love it. I fucking adore this movie. I personally like it more than the original. That's just it's a personal thing, just because that's
It's a more entertaining watch.
Yeah, it's an easier sit down and watch. This is the movie that obviously my brother Eduardo here showed me. This is one of the movies that got me into horror in the first place. This, and then Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are like the big three for me. And Army of Darkness, but that's a whole nother fucking thing for another day. Anyway, there are a lot of glaring omissions, in my opinion, to this. With stuff like the final battle scene. Not the biggest fan of, but that's fine. I'm with Joe and Ed here. They rushed the relationship between Jeff and Chase a lot, whereas for some reason the subplot relationship with Gus and Drew stole the show. It's so much better. You have characters like Drew Buddy and Gus who just carry that movie on their fucking back so hard, and just make it so much more entertaining. And I really appreciate it for that reason alone. I'm gonna give it an 8.5. And then
That's a good rating.
my last thing is, and then here's my last question. They randomly had a subplot, and it's not even a subplot, it's just a random thing I noticed. Drew's mom always has a beer in her hand. And there's even a point where Gus is going up to Drew's mom at Halloween and he fucking slams the beer out of her hands and was like pissed and looked mad that she was drinking and that she was drunk. So that was,
I mean, I'll be drinking too if I was with that man.
He was mad because He was mad because she let Drew leave, and he was
Well,
grounded.
I was trying to point out that she's potentially an alcoholic, and that's for some reason something that they never mentioned. But she always had at least a beer in her hand or around her. That's
What
what
you're
I
saying
noticed.
is,
Mm.
I love this woman. She will
Yeah,
be
she's
mine.
the best.
Oh yeah,
She's super hot.
she
She's the
will be
smoke show.
mine.
But yeah, 8.5.
Wayne's
That
World.
Oh, Wayne's World. All right, Pepsi, go to you.
Uh, I could talk about this movie in a highlighted manner till I'm blue in the face. I'm red in the face right now because I stayed up
You
last
just
night.
did.
True.
Ooh. I fucking adore Pet Sematary 2. I love this movie with a passion. I'm gonna look at it like this. I'm gonna give it essentially two different points of view. As a movie, if you weren't a fan of the series and you were like, oh, let me watch the series as a whole, I can 100% understand where some of the criticism comes from about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with the criticism because I feel like they're overthinking it.
I agree. Yep.
I had I'm not gonna get into so uh, I'm gonna defend this movie. I'll defend it till I'm dead.
So you're buried
I
in the
will
Pet Cemetery?
till I'm buried. Huh? I also will say that Eddie Vegas, me, I'm gonna give this movie for what it means to me and what it did for me and what it how it helped guide me in becoming a horror fan. I'm gonna give this also. I'll match Joe with a 9.5. I'm just fucking with you. And 9.5. I'm just fucking with you. Out of that, so I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of that, right? Because of what it means to me. Now, you know, realistically, take away my emotion towards the movie and my love for it and the connection that I have with it, I'd probably still give it in like the 7 out of 8 or 7.5 range for like an
Mm-hmm.
average fan to watch. If you're a horror fan, it's at least a 7. Like you should watch this movie. There's a lot of
Yeah.
amazing things in this movie. It's a fun watch. It's an easy watch. There's no creepy fucking Zelda in this one, but there's also no Judd in this movie. So like, there's good perks and negatives. We'll definitely have to visit the fucking first one now, and we'll probably have to. What we should do is we should do a show where we compare the first one to the remake,
Oh, I'd love
and
to do that. That'd be great.
that way, instead of doing 3 separate shows, we'll so write that down somebody's for a future show. So
And we
we'll do
had
some
an
polls.
absolute
I don't
smoke
know
show
about
in Pet Cemetery 2 with Drew's mom, and then we had an absolute smoke show in Pet Cemetery 1 with Zelda.
you. That was
I'm
a
not even
man.
gonna comment on that one.
That was a man. Yucko.
Yeah, exactly.
Which even better.
Hey, it's current year, man.
Ben, really? We're gonna end this with this. Cue up the fucking goodbye horses.
I ain't over you. Goodbye, horses.
Buffalo Bill. Come on, Joe. Sounds of the Lamb. Buffalo Bill. No?
That's gonna have to be another one eventually.
Goodbye horses.
All right, guys. I think that is definitely a good way to that's gonna be a good way to end it. I love you two a lot. We're gonna be cutting it here. Thanks everybody for stopping by.
Let's cut the live stream. Let's talk for 2 seconds when we're done.
Yep.
Oh,
All right.
we haven't come up with a tagline yet or a way to end the shows yet, which we're gonna work on. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you very much.
Where can we find you
plug.
guys? Where can we plug?
Yeah, you can do a
Eddie
plug.
_Eddie Vegas on Instagram. Eddie Vegas on. I'm on Twitter, but I'm Biggie 1984 on Twitter. I'm not really active on Twitter. Add me on Facebook, Eddie Sherman, Eddie Vegas. That's me. I am also a part-time semi-bullshit shindy pro wrestler. I do that on the side. There's some stuff. If you look up Eddie Vegas New England, you'll find some wrestling there. I'm also one of the hosts of the Three Dudes and Cold Brews podcast, which is a music-based bullshit, good time, people just hanging out drinking. We have 2 different shows. We do a music show where we play music and break it down for you because we're fucking nerds. And we also have a show where we just get wrecked. And it's literally like if you were to take a bunch of assholes at a bar and put a microphone in the middle of them and just go for it.
Mhm.
That's pretty much what the show is. That's what I did last night. So go check us out. Three Dudes and Cold Brews podcast on everything where you can find podcast streaming sites. And then also go follow Bonded by Horror on Instagram. That is our official Instagram. I'm the moderator on that, and all three of us can chime in on that one. But I'm the one who created it, so go follow us there. Joe, tell everybody where they can find you.
All right, so you can find me on Instagram, JCWalsh81, Twitter, JC Horror Writer, and Facebook, JC Walsh Author. I'm also on Amazon. I think it's like I didn't write that one. Just put in JC Walsh on Amazon. You find me. Both my books, Death Highway and Within the Abyss, Lovecraftian Collection. I'm also do some. I did a movie conversation. Yeah, I'm a maniac, so I got two different things I'm doing movie conversations. With author Amon Rosamilia. Go to his YouTube page. We do break down 4 movies with similar themes, so it's gonna be kind of fun doing 2 different stuff. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Word. So look at that. We have a legit podcaster. We have a fucking a fucking awesome author, and I can attest to both of his works because I think they're great. Thank you very much. I have one of my copies is signed. Thank you very much. No need to. Don't mean to flex on you guys, but I have a JC Walsh author signature. Anyway, you can
I
find
should
me
be flexing on that. What are you talking about?
Oh, true. Oh, you can create your own market, you son of a bitch. All right, guys.
Flex on myself.
You mean this book?
Oh
right
shit!
Oh,
Fuck!
you
I
got
gotta
it.
grab mine. Mine's on the shelf. My signature's on the shelf.
You mean with this amazing bookmark?
Oh,
right
dude,
here?
I fucking love that bookmark. Actually, I use
Oh,
that
yeah,
for.
that-
This is Joe. By the way, our recording or read. We're also Three Dudes and Cold Brew podcast is doing an audio version for Joe for his book. This is how far we are. We are on page 9 or chapter 9, 100.
I was about to say page 9. You guys got far.
The
I
room
also
is
can't
dark. It
spell.
smells of dust and mold. I'm sitting in a chair that's supposed to
No.
be cushioned. Its rocky surface makes my ass hurt. The
Dude,
wallpaper is faded yellow.
Makes my ass hurt too.
Now
Did I actually
picture
write that?
It must be weird hearing
Yeah.
hearing that shit. All right, anyway.
Picture three drunk assholes reading that and making up voices for the characters. We're gonna release that soon. Also, I mean, might be signed right there to Eddie Vegas. Suck my dick.
All right, I hate you. All right, so you can find me. Just type in Scrooge Champ anywhere. Twitch. If you're trying to find me while you're on Twitch, you're weird. It's Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. I don't have a Facebook because Facebook is stupid. You can find me on those. Discord, you can hit me up on there too. That's it, and then I will kiss you all in the mouths.
All right, so I'll see you boys. I'll see you boys.
All right.
On the dark side.
Peace out, everybody. Much love.
Peace out.
Be good, guys.